Okay, Newcastle were beaten by Norwich City. Didn't do my Mondo Goal team any good. I'm going to throw that up right there. Thanks very much, Rafa, and you Geordies. Big question then. I'll start with you, Liam. Is that the end for Newcastle then? Have Norwich relegated them?
We were talking off air about the running that both teams have, and it looks like Newcastle are going to go down. I think it's Newcastle and Sunderland for me. I think Norwich will pull it out of the bag. I said on the show a couple of weeks ago that I thought Benitez would motivate them and maybe organise them a bit better, but it doesn't look like they've happened. I mean, to come from 2-0 down, Mitrovic should have been on the pitch from the start, in my opinion, but to come from 2-0 down and then to throw it away last minute, to do that seems they don't have the bottle to carry it through to the end of the season, and I think that's what's going to happen, and they deserve to go down.
This is the thing with Rafa, and I said this at the time, like, and he's a great manager. He is a great manager. And he would be a long term. I think he could be a really good fit for Newcastle and for the Geordies and all kinds of for the city. He's got that he has that messianical whatever. He likes being Lord. The fans like holding him up on a pedestal and making gold frames with his picture and all that kind of stuff. That's what we did anyway. But the thing is, Newcastle just needed to win some football matches, and Rafa is stock things to make it hard to beat first, and I don't think it was quite the right fit, and I don't think they've got quite the right players, and I
think it's because they made the move for Rafa too late. They should have brought him in about 5 games before that, and he'd have a chance. I mean, it's a really difficult job. His first game in charge was at Leicester, and then this game away at Norwich, always going to be really difficult. They're fighting for their lives as well. I don't know, but I think as well in that game, some dodgy refereeing for me, because to me that was a handball at the end there. I mean, if a player controls the ball with his hand, right, whether it's deliberate or not, which then gives you a scoring chance, to me that's got to be blown up.
On Talksport this afternoon, they had a referee on. Was Mark Cosley? I can't remember who it was. Either way, the referee said if you gain advantage, regardless of whether it's intentional or not intentional, if you gain an advantage, it's handball.
That's what I thought. That's what I felt happened in that game. He's like, it's a great finish by Olsen, but that was a handball before that, But listen, you get those. I have to agree with you. I think it looking like Newcastle and Sunderland going down.
I just think
Norwich as well. They seem to
look at the fight.
Yeah, they've got that fight. They've got that fight, and they've also got Sunderland at home.
Yeah.
If they beat Sunderland at home, I think they're going to.
But as Norwich, I've got Palace and Sunderland as the next two games. There's a chance that in 2 days' time they could be safe. It could be almost done. And getting that result against Newcastle, actually, it puts them in the right frame of mind, I think, for that, because they'll be thinking, go ahead, we've got what it takes now to fight our way out of this.
Yeah, I mean, they were 2-0 up. Naismith was brilliant for Norwich at the weekend. Naismith was brilliant for Norwich.
You hated him, didn't you?
No, they're nice. I didn't like him on the wing. When you play him where he should play, he's quite good. It just takes a manager who knows how to play.
Deja vu.
It's never the manager's fault, is it, of course. But to throw a 2-0 lead away the way they did, and then that save from John Ruddy at 2-2 was incredible.
Yeah, that was
incredible. But what character to come back. I mean, I seen Norwich when they played Hughes, that bizarre game, and he just decided that you can leave like Firmino on his own, it doesn't matter. It was a bit MLS-y. I thought at the time they're in trouble, because they got that day they scored in about the 94th minute, and Liverpool scored in the 95th, didn't they? At the weekend, it was them doing it, and it's this time of the season with momentum. They can go to Palace now and get a draw. Palace aren't playing great at the moment. Still a difficult place to go. If they can get a point there and then beat Sunderland at home, 4 points from the next 6.
Yeah, it's a lot.
At this stage, I'm with you. If they could have brought Benitez in just after Christmas, and he would have got them tight and got them organised, and then ground out a couple of wins, it just seems as though it may be he's not going to have enough time. He needs a lucky win from somewhere. And the players, are they going to believe now? They were on the knees, weren't they, when the whistle went? And once players, you've seen it with Villa, once the belief goes, all of a sudden, everything's gone.
I just think they needed to get someone to come in and be a bit mad. Come in and go, right, no, but it's Newcastle doing that instance. Get someone who just goes, right, we're playing like 5 up front, because you know what? Cause, yeah, exactly, old school Kevin Keegan, not the current one, like,
So is everyone just writing Sunderland off then? Everyone's just assuming that it's Norwich is going to stay up? What about Sunderland?
Well, I'm going to ask him the next segment is about whether there are any shocks left in the season. I think we can talk a little bit about Sunderland and stuff, I guess, on the next one. But I think just from a Newcastle perspective, down?
I think they're down, yeah. think they're down.
I wouldn't say. I still don't think it's done and dusted because Benitez is capable of getting results. So they're in with a fighting chance, but it's getting more difficult now to see. They're running out of games.
I just think that Norwich seem to have that fighting spirit, a bit like Leicester last year when they went in it, that will get them through. The others, you know, especially Newcastle, because it's such a big club and the fear of them going down. You know, I don't know. I think Norwich will get through.
One thing I would say the team at Norwich as well is that they're more attacking than the other two sides. They seem to have goals in them, and that Alex Neil is really, he gets them going at teams with. I think Allardyce and Benitez are more defensive, so I think that might be the thing that keeps them up the way Leicester did last year.
The idea of them two having like a slap fight, you know, on a sinking ship. You know what I mean? Like they're deciding who's going to win out of the two of them, and then all of a sudden they're both at the bottom of the ocean. Like, I mean, there's probably something.
It'd be great to see Money in the Bank with them two, wouldn't it?
Have you just pulled a wrestling?
Or a ladder.
Have you just pulled a wrestling reference?
Yeah, well, it's WrestleMania last night, wasn't it? Just thinking about it, you know what I mean? It'd be great. A ladder match. It'd be amazing.
What has happened?
I've seen Kelly. I always go back to Kelly, the fittest wrestler.
Newcastle survive?
I hope Newcastle survive, but the Norwich thing, I had Newcastle absolutely nailed on to win that game. I thought Rafa will get them organised. Again, I picked like 3 Newcastle players in my Mondo team, and it went disastrously. Carl Darlow, fuck you! Yeah, so there you go. Okay, still to come this week, we're going to be discussing Antonio Conte at Chelsea. We're going to be, are there any shocks left in the season? A bit more on the relegation bit and a bit on top 4 as well. Check those shows out.